Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. You haven't seen me in a while. I just been busy doing what I do. But at the end of the day, today I'm gonna come back because I'm coming back on camera anyways, because I want to talk about the difference between belief versus witchcraft. And I want to talk about how belief matches up to indigenous spiritual systems and practices. And I'm also going to talk about how belief is not our nature. Spirituality is a natural system that we follow. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But I want you to click on that like and subscribe button if you like the content of my channel, and make sure you click on that little bell so when I do upload new videos, you will be notified. So I definitely feel like there are some people who have been in the occult, and then they switch from the occult and go back to religion. So I'm going to talk about why that happens too. But first I want to say one of the main things is that when we say something is our nature, or we say that something is natural for us to do, what we're talking about is the inherent inclinations or motivations that we have. And when we, for say, instance, eating, that's a natural motivation. You're going to eat, and you got to eat. Your body's just going to be prompted to eat. You expect to eat so that you can nurture yourself, okay? So anything that you say comes naturally to you. It's just something that you're going to be motivated to do, no matter who's around, no matter what's going on, okay? It doesn't have anything to do with choice, basically. It has to do with you inside of an animal body, and the things that happen because your energy is trapped in flesh. So one of the things that people say is that it is natural, or a natural inclination to understand that there is a greater power than you. And I think that that is true based on the fact that everything that you need has already been provided for you, and you didn't have to think of it. You didn't have to think of an apple tree or a lemon tree, or you didn't have to think of, let me get animals here so that, we can have a source of protein and ecosystems and stuff like that. So I think, naturally speaking, every human being does understand that there is some sort of higher power or greater power than yourself. So that's not a belief. That's actually something that you can confirm just based on the fact that you've been placed on a planet where there is plenty of everything for you to eat. You have places where you can lay your head and sleep, and everything's been pretty much thought out and provided for you that you need, okay? Not wants, not desires, not, material appetites, but everything that you need. So based off of that, there is no belief. There's only truth. The truth is that the same life force that is within you is in an apple, and the same life force that is within you is in a flower, and the same life force that is within you is in a tree. There's no question about that. So when you're handed a belief system, you definitely need to question what the purpose of that is, okay? If I'm already cognizant and aware that there is a higher power, why do I need a belief system? Okay? This is very important because the people who are moving from the occult to belief systems, they are very, very deceived and confused, okay? Because you've been offered truth. Now, the way that you got that truth probably is going to determine whether or not you're able to live in that truth rather than fear that truth, okay? And so some people are afraid of spiritual realities. They're afraid of source energy in a plant. Because if you think about it, you would think that you're more superior than a plant because a plant can't do all that you do. But when you humble yourself, okay, in the name of consciousness, and you understand that everything that is in that plant is just as intelligent as you, only a different kind of intelligence, then you begin to become equal with all things around you, and you will respect nature. Now, inside of the belief systems, okay, religion, they definitely tend to tell you don't mess with witchcraft, don't mess with spirits, don't do this, don't do that. I mean, it's like some rules. You can go to church, which is not a spiritual practice. You can pray. That's somewhat of a spiritual practice, depending on how it's being used. But you can't tap into nature. You can't have crystals. Crystals are evil, right? At a church, right? Yet, they're asking you to believe in characters who have human behaviors and human thoughts. They're asking you to believe in characters who have human attributes, but you can't see them. They're asking you to believe in characters that were crafted for you by other humans, which isn't reliable, because we understand that we all have an imagination and we can make up things, or we can make up stories. People sell books every day, novels, where they made up a whole entire story of 400 or 500 pages, okay? So we know that people make things up, okay? So what I'm going to tell you right now is that your nature is to question things. You have a mind. Your mind is it's like a whole laboratory, right? So you need to put things together to see how things work, to see what you can use, to see what you can't use. So it is not natural for you to believe. You want to ask questions. You need answers. That's what science is about. That's what the goddamn CERN machine is about. That's what, just like, experimental, like, science studies are about. They're all tapping into source energy and trying to see how source energy is working through the universe, through the sun, through the moon, through your damn mind, okay? They're tapping into this. They take plants, they test plants, they see what plants can do. They see how we can use plants for medicine, or different parts of animals for medicine. They're basically practicing witchcraft, right? And they're mixing it with, like, capitalism, right? And they're mixing it with ways that they can learn about everybody, right? The indigenous people that have been conquered by these governments. They're studying you every day to understand how source energy works within you. Your natural inclination is to question everything. And so when we're talking about witchcraft, and we're talking about magic, and we're talking about indigenous spiritual systems, that's what those things were given to us by our ancestors for. And now it's the occult, right? So people who are in the religious belief systems and they change back, well, they change to the occult and then go back to religious belief systems, you actually didn't get the message. Like, it really flew over your head, because those individuals actually didn't realize that those hidden things that they call the occult were taken from us. They were taken from our spiritual systems that our ancestors created. And now the people who are hoarding resources, they are using those practices to help them to maintain control over everyone else. And they're also testing everyone else because they don't really understand how source energy is working through everyone. Okay, that also tells you that their minds are very young. Okay, at the end of the day, when we've incarnated many times and we've come here and we've been in the indigenous spiritual systems, it's like we already coming here knowing that we have spirits that we work with. Okay, they found that out through us. So the belief system comes to dumb you down and actually put you in a place where you're dependent on someone else to power you, rather than your own ancestors and source energy. Okay, people who are buying into like Christian belief systems, even Islam. I used to be a Christian and I was a Muslim. Okay, I tried it out, both of them. And those systems basically are telling you that there is another God that you need to subscribe to in order for you to be saved. Can't nobody save you. Can't nobody save us but ourselves. It's like we have to apply our own thought energy, our own willpower to our lives so that we can improve ourselves. Okay? Now, we can't tap into source energy or that higher God energy, that energy that is spreading life around the universe. We can tap into that energy, and we can also use nature and tap into those energies like in plants, animals, and different things to help us to understand ourselves or to elevate ourselves in different ways. And a lot of the indigenous cultures, before they went around with the missionaries spreading Christianity to everyone or Islam to everyone, we definitely were using nature and we were tapping into that higher energy, that higher God psychic energy. And that's the reason why a lot of the indigenous cultures understood how to use every part of an animal so that you don't waste. We understood how to create balance in nature by making sure that we give something back whenever we take something. Okay? If you notice, the people who are spreading Christianity and these so-called religions, they're pretty much raping the environment, and well, they're selling us there's crap, right? They call it resources. Okay, so in their mind, they're resourcing everything instead of just going straight to the source. Okay, so that's another clue that people in religion are being deceived. Okay, they're being sold a fake God, basically. And that God, it rests on money, or it rests on capitalism. Okay, if you notice, that's why they always have outer temples that they have to maintain, right? And it's nothing wrong with building something that you can honor your deity in. Okay, it's nothing wrong with that. But when that becomes a business, there's something wrong with that. And we know that Christianity is pretty much a business, okay? Everybody who goes to a church has to come out of their pocket to pay those church bills. So not only are the people at the church profiting off of them, but other capitalist organizations like the light bill company or the water bill company is able to profit from a church, okay? Another thing people don't understand when it comes to belief systems, they're not based on a foundation of reality, okay? It's actually based on, and this is what they give the masses. This isn't what the Catholic priests are actually doing behind closed doors. They're practicing a whole nother system, okay? But the masses, right? They give you a system by where you feel you need to learn something. Why do you need to learn something? When our ancestors have been here for millions of years and they gave us the knowledge, and not only that, but we have nature all around us to tap into to get the knowledge of source. Honestly, I definitely feel like people, it's like they're inverted. And everything they've been taught is inverted. It's all backwards, right? Up is down to them, and down is up, right? The left is the right to them, and the right is the left, right? They're very confused. And even when it comes down to reading scriptures or the Bible, you don't read that as objective when you're in these belief systems. You read that as truth. And those things are meant to be questioned, okay? Some of those things were given to us by the ancients so that we could have something to help gauge our mind. But they're not gauging people's minds by telling them what to believe versus asking them to question what reality is, okay? And so when you have like the Catholic system, which sits upon Roman ideas, they're actually practicing something else while they give the masses something to believe. So we can look at this in terms of different kinds of Freemasonry, okay? Different kinds of systems where you're initiated. Those people who call themselves like priests and, you know, who created the Bible, okay, like King James, they also wrote like books of demonology because that wasn't the main thing that they were practicing. And even Christianity doesn't know it, but the God that they tap into is not the universal God. It's not the most high, okay? And I'm saying that with quotes around it because at the end of the day, that's, you know, we can look at that as a title, okay? But when we're tapping into like the Christian God or Jesus, we're tapping into Roman ideology, okay? We're not actually tapping into the universe, okay? And the Bible actually tells you that, okay? And so people definitely are confused about what reality is. So when we're going into witchcraft, we're going into magic, you're actually testing reality. You're actually testing the source. You're actually testing what people call God. That is a way to test it. Just like CERN is trying to test, how the universe was created or whatever, right? You're actually doing that with witchcraft, or you're actually doing that with magic. you're putting it to the test. You're saying, okay, if I get source energy from here, here, and here, and I put all that together, what can I establish this outcome that I want? Okay? It doesn't all have to be baneful or malevolent magic where you're hurting someone or you're trying to take away other people's free will. But there are several other ways to do that. Because I promise you, through slavery, our ancestors' free will was taken away. I promise you, okay? And that wasn't hoodoo and it wasn't voodoo. And somebody said to me, hoodoo and voodoo was created by Europeans. They somewhat influenced it. Yes, they did. Because at the end of the day, we had to try to tap into our spiritual based system to use it for self-defense, okay? Or we had to try to tap into our spiritual based system to use it just to hold us up in some sort of way, right? And so there's different forms of magic. There's mind magic. There's prosperity or abundance, money type magic, right? There's magic where you can pretty much heal people. That type of magic, like sickness or whatever, of the body or the mind, right? And then there's magic. There's magic for self-defense. And then there's magic where you could sick a spirit on a motherfucker. And then there's magic where you can, there's different kinds of magic. And they also said to me, if you use magic, it backfires on you and karma comes. Karma comes for everything you do. So being scared of karma is not something that fear in general is not something that you should practice. But the whole point about magic is to bring you some type of karma, right? To bring you some type of outcome. To give you some type of experience, right? That you want besides the one that you have. Whether that's getting out of slavery, whether that's getting revenge on someone so you can feel better, whether that's messing with some type of consciousness and integrating it in your mind. At the end of the day, magic it's like a spiritual practice to test source energy, to test the immaterial, okay? Honestly, I feel like magic and witchcraft is the ultimate way of like testing out who and what creation is. If you are or have enough courage, if you're brave enough to do that, you're not gonna fear things, right? You're not gonna fear spirits, right? Because you understand that you can't be this curious or test this out without encountering certain things that you have not necessarily encountered in the seen world, right? Because you're dealing with the immaterial. You're dealing with the psychic energy with magic. You're dealing only with you're dealing with vibration and frequency. That's what you're dealing with. You're not dealing with things that you can see. So fear doesn't have any place inside of the practice of magic, okay? So that's the purpose of us meditating as practitioners, witches, whatever you call yourself, root workers and all this here. You have to meditate so that you're able to face things without fear, without emotion. They say that there's only one real emotion, and that's fear. We can break that down into all these different other, emotions. But at the end of the day, your meditation helps you decrease fear of your spirit, which your spirit is what you need to use to tap into other spirits, other frequencies, other vibrations, and the source energy in nature or in other people. Other people are nature. But belief systems don't allow you to do that. Belief system says that you make a decision and you live this way, and that's your proof. Whatever, whatever your outcome is from the way that you live. But we know that that's a lie, because in every single class, whether you live in poverty or whether you live in wealth, okay, everyone is subscribing to these belief systems. Yet, they're all on different levels in life. This supports the class. Religion supports the class system, the government, capitalism. Religion supports all of the facets of the false beast, the false beast system, the false religion, okay? Even Christians will say they have the only true religion, but that's the main religion that's held up by false Roman concepts about reality, about nature, about who and what God or source really is. So, I'm going to end this by saying, don't be duped. Occult is a word that they use to convey that the knowledge is hidden, okay? But our ancestors already had this knowledge, okay? All they did was take that away and use that to sell us Christianity, which in turn brought us into a false reality that has caused us to lose our lands. It has caused us to take on sickness. And it has caused us to be very mentally challenged. Okay? Because we don't know or understand the true nature of reality. All of this is accomplished through religion, through reinventing something for you to subscribe to that takes over your mind. And so their whole reality can freely live through this. Because if you were tapped into all the sources of nature, and we didn't know them all, but we were tapping into them, our ancestors were communicating with stellar consciousness. Those are stars and stuff. And so, we were tapping into more of the immaterial universe, through different ways. That's the real technology. Now we got all these trash ass motherfucking cell phones, washers and dryers. We're creating trash piles everywhere through consumerism. The church isn't stopping any of this. They're not picking up trash in the neighborhood. They're not stopping pollution. They're not doing anything that you would think that a creator would stand for, right? A creator would want us to take care of all the stuff that the creator gave us, right? That they created for us, right? To maintain it and to have guardianship over it, right? But they don't want you to do that, right? Even if you were to come up with your own army, and fight, like say they did in Haiti, right? That's considered immoral, because in Jesus' philosophy, we have to turn the other cheek or whatever when violence is used against us. So they've pretty much duped. They have your mind. You're definitely enslaved when you're in a religious belief system, no doubt. Alright, you guys, that's it. Thank you for watching, family. Be blessed.